In 1296, during the Middle Ages, the head of the Catholic Church, Pope Boniface VIII, dispatched a covert group on a mission from which they weren't expected to return. This group was the equivalent of today's special forces, known as the Desertus, the Latin word for the Forsaken. They were utilized as pawns and disposable weapons for their mysterious dark abilities. Legend had it that these three knights had been exposed to forbidden ancient knowledge while uncovering Solomon's temple in Jerusalem during the Holy Wars. When the Forsaken Three and their order faced impossible odds, only they remained standing, wielding their dark magic to crush their opponents with ease. Unbeknownst to them, a fellow Templar in critical condition chronicled what he saw, leaving behind a testimony that would come back to haunt the Forsaken Knights. The Vatican initially ordered their execution, but with just a moment to spare, their fates changed. The Vatican and its elites had a change of heart, realizing that these three rogue Knights Templar could be valuable assets, rather than letting such power go to waste. In exchange for their lives, they swore eternal loyalty to the Vatican. Renowned not only for their bravery in battle, these Templars were tasked with hunting cryptids, monstrous creatures plaguing the kingdom. Reports of attacks and villagers going missing in an ancient town in Austria named Enns suggested that these creatures were emerging from the depths of hell, pure evil that needed vanquishing. The Forsaken Knights mounted their horses and headed west through the Alps. The Forsaken Knights made their way to the outskirts of the small Austrian town in the Alps mountains. With the village on the horizon, there was light smoke trailing from it. As they entered the once beautiful, lively village, they felt an eerie sensation as if they were being watched. It was a ghost town with no one in sight. Suddenly, they heard a faint voice coming from one of the houses. When they entered, they found a wounded villager in critical condition. One of the knights shouted,
"What happened?"
The man replied,
They looked human. We thought they were like us.
The knight asked.
"Who?"
Then, the man pointed towards the window where a mountain range with a deep cave system lay. He then took his last breath as his hand dropped to the floor. Without a word, the knights mounted their horses and headed for the mountain tops. As they reached the top of the mountain, they noticed human remains scattered about. As they followed, they noticed it led to a large opening along the side of the mountain. One of the knights said,
"This is their lair."
as they unsheathed their swords. As the Forsaken Knights stepped into the gaping maw of the mountain, the air thickened with a sense of foreboding. The darkness seemed to swallow them whole as they ventured deeper into the cavernous depths. Their torches flickered, casting eerie shadows that danced along the walls adorned with ancient symbols. Among the remnants of human bones strewn about, they stumbled upon a soldier's journal. Its pages, weathered with time, spoke of sinister transformations and unholy possessions. According to the journal, the man-eating creatures plaguing the land were not merely beasts, but werewolves, once human, now twisted by demonic forces. With newfound resolve, the knights pressed onward, their swords at the ready. The path led them to a vast chamber where ceremonial objects and arcane symbols adorned the walls. It was evident that dark rituals had taken place within these unhallowed grounds. Suddenly, the silence shattered as three monstrous figures emerged from the shadows. Towering over the knights, their eyes gleamed with feral hunger, their forms twisted and contorted into grotesque shapes. With a blood-curdling roar, the battle commenced. The Forsaken Knights fought valiantly, their blades clashing against the claws and teeth of the werewolf-like creatures. Each strike echoed through the cavern, a symphony of steel and fury. As the battle raged on, the air crackled with dark energy, and the ground trembled beneath their feet. With skill and determination, the knights unleashed their dark magic, weaving spells to counter the relentless onslaught of their foes. But the creatures fought with primal ferocity, their strength fueled by the demonic spirits that possessed them. In a climactic clash of wills, the Forsaken Knights rallied together, their unity a beacon of hope in the face of darkness. With a final, decisive blow, they vanquished the creatures, their bodies colliding against the jagged cave walls, with the beast hitting the ground lifeless. The demonic presence fled the chamber. Exhausted but victorious, the Forsaken Knights found an ancient stone entrance with symbols they've never seen before. The three knights simultaneously drew back their hands, and together they destroyed the locked entrance with an invisible force.